Page 2 says to solve this inequality, and that's negative 4x squared plus 11x minus 5 greater than or equal to 0. Now, just thinking about this, this is an upside down parabola, and if we want this parabola, if that was y, we want the y values to be greater than or equal to 0, so we went from the x-intercept to the x-intercept. That's when the parabola would be positive. So we need to find the x-intercepts. Now I might be able to factor, but I'm just going to use the quadratic formula. X equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a, which would be positive 16 times negative 5 is negative 80, all over 2 times a, which should be 2 times negative 4, or negative 8. So that becomes, see, 121 minus 80 is 41, and so I have negative 11 plus square root of 41 over negative 8, and negative 11 minus the square root of 41 over negative 8. Now, which one of these is larger? Well, this would have this is positive negative, so this would make a smaller number over a negative. How can I say this? Square root of 40 is about 6 something. So negative 11 plus 6 is plus over minus. This is a minus number. And this is a minus and a minus, so it's a minus divided by a minus, which is a positive number. So the smaller one is this one. So that would go to here. And this is the larger, that would be here. And if we want to know when this is bigger than 0, this upside down parabola, it'd be between those, so we'd say, and it says also equal, so we can include negative 11 plus the square root of 41 over negative 8, and I could have multiplied the numerator and denominator by negative 1, and that'd been 11 minus square root of 41 over 8. To the other one, negative 11 minus the square root of 41 over negative 8, and we want to include them. So there's the answer to this one. Now the next one, we have a 3x times an x, so that's a 3x squared, or a right side up parabola, and it wants to know when this is greater than 0. Well, for these x's, the parabola is not greater than 0. It's below the x-axis. It's less than 0. At the x-intercepts, it's equal to 0. But for these x's and for these x's, this expression would be greater than 0. So once again, I have to find the x-intercepts. But since it's already factored, I can set each factor equal to 0. And subtract 4 and divide by 3, and I get x equals negative 4 thirds. Set the other one equal to 0, x minus 2 equals 0. Add 2, and x equals 2. So, the part that we want, do we want between them? That's when the parabola, this curve, is less than 0, not greater than. So we don't want that. We want this part, which is from negative infinity up to, see, which one of these is smaller? The negative 4 thirds is, so we'd go up to negative 4 thirds. Union, then we could go from the larger x-intercept, which is 2, to infinity. Okay, number 6. Many of you wrote the revenue model as just revenue is equal to P times Q, and since it says P is this, they replace P with 3,500 minus 5Q. So that's what P is, times Q, which turns out to be 3,500 Q minus 5Q squared. So there's a revenue model. This one is based on the quantity. Determine the quantity sold for maximum revenue, part C. So I'm going to jump down here because this is in terms of quantity. So if I can find the x-coordinate of the vertex, which is minus B, the opposite of B, divided by 2 times A, that would be the x-coordinate vertex, which turns out to be positive 350. So if there was 350 items sold, that would produce the maximum revenue. If I want to know, as in B, the price, I would go back to the price is found by taking 3,500 minus 5 times the quantity, which we just figured out was 350. So this turns out to be 1,725, I believe. Let me look at my note too. 1,700, let's see, 750. So that would be the price, because P is equal to 3,500 minus Q squared. Now let's go to the max revenue. And to do that, I can put in 350 into the revenue function, because that was the quantity, in for there and figure it out. But I also could just say I sold them at a price of 1,750. The number I sold was 350, and I can multiply those, and I get an answer for the revenue, because it's just price times quantity, of 1,750 times 350 is 612,500. 612,500. $612,500 revenue. Selling them at $1,750, and we sell 350. That's a page.